Scammers are taking advantage of the coronavirus outbreak. FTC tip number 1. Hang up on robocalls. Scammers are calling to pitch everything from fake coronavirus treatments to work-at-home schemes to get your money and personal information. Visit ftc.gov/coronavirus and bbb.org/coronavirus to learn more.
We've seen a great rise in the last year on money transfer frauds. Oftentimes, people will get phone calls from a relative, someone who claims to know a relative, for someone who tells them they've won a prize, for someone who tells them they've got a wonderful business opportunity. And the key is, at some point, they have to wire money to someone they don't know. And what we're trying to tell the public is, if you're ever asked to wire money to someone you don't know, it's likely a scam. Stop, think, and make sure that the person that you think you're sending money to is someone who's legitimate, someone who in fact is a relative, or someone who you have a pre-existing relationship with. The problem is that money wire scams come in all shapes and sizes. We see scams that we call the grandparent scams. These are phone calls from people who purport to know a grandchild or even from a grandchild, saying that they're in trouble in a foreign city or in a remote place and they need money quickly. And then the caller suggests sending money by wire. And so money is sent by wire to a friend, someone who claims to be a friend of a relative or a grandchild. The money is transferred and it disappears. Once it's wired, it evaporates. There's no way for you to get it back. And we're seeing a real rise in those kinds of scams. Other kinds of scams are what we call the prize scams. You're called up, you're told that you've won a prize. All you need to do is give them to wire some money, and then they will send you the prize, or they'll ask you to send them a check so they have information about your checking account, and they will drain your money. And so these kinds of scams take all kinds of forms, but the bottom line rule is that if you're asked to wire money to someone you don't know, it's almost certainly a scam. One scam we're seeing a lot of, wire scams, starts with you getting a check from someone you don't know. And as soon as you deposit that check, and that person will be asking you to use that check for some of your own purposes, and then to wire them some money back. The problem is the bank has to clear your check within a couple of days, even before it's certain that the check is valid. And and this happens all the time, if you wire money back thinking there's money in your account and it turns out, as it often does, that the check is a fake, you, not the bank, are liable for those overdrafts. So people are looking for work and will get a call from someone who says, for instance, they've been selected to be a mystery shopper, and they will soon get a check for thousands of dollars that will pay not only their salary, but will pay them to go shop at stores, at sort of stores that are available everywhere. They'll cash the check, the bank will clear the check because the bank doesn't have any choice, and then they'll go out, spend some money, and wire money back to their employer. Or so they think. But they're not wiring back the employer's money because that check was fake. What they're doing is they're wiring money they don't have, but they will be liable for, and they will end up in debt as a result of this. Let me make one thing clear. Money transfers are a useful way to get money to people you know and you've had dealings with in the past quickly and efficiently. What we're worried about is using money transfers to send money to people you don't know or haven't had any dealings with in the past. That's a red flag that oftentimes is not a false alarm. So suppose you've fallen prey to one of these scams and you sent a wire transfer to someone you don't know, or you've cashed a check that turns out to be fake and sent a wire transfer based on that. The first thing you should do is report that incident to the wire transfer company so it can conduct an investigation. then please file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. You can do that either through our website at ftc.gov, or you can do it by phone at 1-877-FTC-HELP.
We all see scams. Even if we don't buy into one, we all get the calls, emails, and letters. Why are there so many? Well, scammers see us all as targets, so they keep trying to get our money, or social security number, or account numbers. And they're good at what they do. They know how to knock us off balance just long enough to take advantage. That's why we need a plan. So if you think you've spotted a scam, what do? First, tell somebody. The call or email might seem urgent, but slow down. Talk to a family member, friend, or neighbor. Tell them the story. Sometimes just saying it out loud helps. Maybe your friend got a similar message or knows someone who has. Or your story might just help your neighbor avoid that scam. Then, tell the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC sues scammers and works to shut them down. When you report a scam to the FTC, investigators use your information to build cases against scammers. Other law enforcement agencies can see the reports too and use them to further their own investigations. Your story makes a difference. Every report is a piece of the puzzle that lets the FTC see the full picture of what scammers are doing, and then stop them. Because scammers don't scam just one person, but you could be the one person whose story tips the balance, stops someone from falling for the scam, or stops the scammer. So tell your story. As soon as you think you see a scam, talk with someone, and then tell the FTC. Go to ftc.gov/complaint to file your report.
My name is Don Holmes. I live in Sun City West, Arizona. In this community, we're all seniors. After you move in here, even if you don't know anybody, you get to know other people you enjoy doing things with. I use a computer predominantly for email and to get the news. One day, a thing pops up and kind of blocks the screen and says, you've got all kinds of viruses in your computer. The design of the pop-up had a Microsoft logo on the top, and they had a number. And I couldn't get rid of this thing on the screen. Turned the computer off, turned it back on, still there. So I called the number. They identified themselves as Microsoft. I had no feeling that there was anything wrong.
Tech support scams are real, and they're causing enormous consumer injury, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and that's just based on the FTC's own law enforcement work. Just like Mr. Holmes, a lot of people are getting pop-ups on their screens, and often they claim to be associated with a company such as Microsoft or Apple, giving them lots of credibility.
They told me they would clear what they considered to be malware in there. In order to clear it up, they needed to get into my computer and have my control of the computer turned over to them. So I gave them my password. They went in, the thing came off of the screen. When I went back to my computer the next day, I couldn't access my files.
You'd never let a stranger into your house. Don't let one into your computer. If you get a pop-up, don't click on a link. If you get a phone call from someone who says your computer's security is at risk, don't listen to them. Stop, take the time to talk to a friend, talk to a family member.
When this happened to me, I was a little bit embarrassed. I mean, I consider myself fairly alert, but I was targeted and I was scammed. I didn't really want to talk about this, but I realized that if I didn't talk about it, that if I didn't file the complaint with the Attorney General, that if I didn't file a complaint with the FTC, that I would have shrunk into myself. And by talking about it, by talking to all my friends,
they're not amateurs, Don.
I began to realize that they also started talking, and they started indicating that they had experienced similar things. That kind of community, that kind of exposure, it's not an embarrassment, it's just something that happens when you're a senior. You have to talk about to other seniors. What I would suggest is contact the FTC. They have a website. You can fill out a complaint online. We can be empowered with your family, your friends, and other people within your community to try to put a stop, or at least protect ourselves from these kinds of scams.
This is you. You've been ripped off, or you've spotted a scam. Don't keep it to yourself. Take it to the Federal Trade Commission by filing a complaint. What kind of complaint? The Federal Trade Commission is the nation's consumer protection agency. So if a business doesn't deliver on its promises, or if someone cheats you out of your money, the Federal Trade Commission wants to hear about it.
I bought a phone card with 350 minutes of calling time, but it cut me off after 20.
I'm getting bills for things I didn't buy. I think someone stole my identity.
Letter said I won a sweepstakes, but I had to wire money to cover the taxes. I did, and never heard from them again.
I responded to an ad online for a free trial offer, but then I started seeing charges for it every month.
I thought the email was from someone who saw my resume and wanted to hire me, but they asked for my bank account number. I reported it to the Federal Trade Commission.
Telling the Federal Trade Commission helps us stop rip-offs, scams, and fraudsters. Your complaints matter here. To file a complaint, just go to ftc.gov/complaint. Click on the link to the Federal Trade Commission Complaint Assistant and answer the questions. Or call 1-877-FTC-HELP. That's all there is to it. If you've been ripped off or scammed, complain to the Federal Trade Commission. It can help put the bad guys out of business.
Los estafadores se están aprovechando del brote de coronavirus. Consejo número 1. Cuélguele ese teléfono a las robocalls. Para conseguir su dinero e información personal, los estafadores están promocionando de todo por teléfono, desde tratamientos falsos para el coronavirus hasta esquemas de trabajo en casa. Para más información, visite ftc.gov/coronavirus/LS y bbb.org/coronavirus.
Hi, I'm Monica Vaca, an Assistant Director with the Federal Trade Commission. Well, the most common scams that we see are people who offer to provide immigration services, but they are not authorized to provide those services. They will charge you a fee for doing that, but they will often bungle your paperwork. Sometimes they will pretend to be lawyers. Sometimes they will call themselves notarios to convince you that they are able to provide that assistance to you. The other type of scam that we see are fake government websites. These are websites that look legitimate, but they are not legitimate. Their website addresses do not end in .gov, and these people cannot help you. And then the third type of scam that we see are the individuals and businesses that charge you money for free government forms. You should not be paying money for free government forms. In Latin America, the term notario refers to a highly specialized lawyer. In this country, notarios or notary publics are not lawyers. They are not authorized to provide you with immigration services, and you should not be paying them a fee to do so. So people who get scammed will of course lose the money that they have invested. Whatever fees that they have paid will be gone. But more importantly, for a lot of people, their immigration status can be jeopardized by filling out the wrong form, by missing a deadline, by having incorrect information on a form. A person's immigration status can be put in significant jeopardy. The immigration process is complicated, and so it's worth investing some time into looking for the right kind of help. Look for a lawyer, preferably an immigration lawyer in good standing. You can also look for an accredited representative at a recognized organization. These folks will charge you fees for their services, but there may be organizations in your area that can provide you with free or low-cost assistance. You can find help with immigration services by going to ftc.gov/immigration. Start there. That will give you links to many places you can go to look for the right people. If you see a scam, please report it to the Federal Trade Commission. You can report it at ftc.gov. You can report it in English or Spanish. We know that some people are nervous about providing too much information, but people should feel free to provide whatever information they feel comfortable providing. The most important things to know are, first of all, notarios are not lawyers. Do not pay them for immigration services. Second, if you see a scam, report it to the FTC at ftc.gov. Third, go to the FTC website for assistance in finding somebody who can help you. Go to ftc.gov/immigration.
Hi, I'm Michael Waller, an attorney with the Federal Trade Commission. Every year, the U.S. State Department has a diversity visa lottery. If you're from an eligible country and you meet the educational or work requirements, you can enter the lottery for a chance to apply for what's called lawful permanent resident status in the United States. It's what many people call getting a green card. Unfortunately, scammers are taking advantage of people who want to enter the lottery. These con artists say they can help you win the visa lottery or increase your chances of winning. And the problem is they can't. Some scammers say you've won the lottery, even if you've never entered, and then ask for payment to process your application. All of these con artists will take your money, but you'll get nothing in return. The scammers might even cost you the chance to get a green card legally. Registration for the lottery is open once a year for about a month every fall. There's only one way to enter the Diversity Visa Lottery, and that's online at dvlottery.state.gov. To enter, you'll fill out a form on the State Department website. You'll answer questions and give information about yourself, your spouse, and your children who are under 21. You'll also submit digital photos of yourself like passport photos. Entering the lottery is free. You can enter the Diversity Visa Lottery only once each year. If you enter more than once, your entries will not count. But if your spouse is eligible to enter the lottery, he or she can apply separately. If your entry is selected, you can include your spouse on your application and your children as well if they're single and under 21. When you submit your entry through the official website, dvlottery.state.gov, you'll get an acknowledgement from the State Department. You'll also get a confirmation number. Keep that number safe because you'll need it to check on your status. The selection process is completely random. A computer randomly selects the entries that win a spot. There's no way to increase your chances of winning the Diversity Visa Lottery. The State Department will never send you a letter or an email to say that your application has been chosen. The only way to check the status of your application is to look online at dvlottery.state.gov. So if you get an email or letter from someone telling you that you won, it's a scam. Finally, if your entry is selected, you'll have to pay an application fee to the U.S. Embassy or consulate cashier, but only when you go for your scheduled appointment. The U.S. government will never ask you to send any money in advance by check, money order, or wire transfer. So if you're thinking about entering the lottery, remember a few things. The only place to enter the lottery is at dvlottery.state.gov. There's no place else to apply. No one can increase your chances of having a winning entry. The drawing is completely random. The State Department will never send you an email saying that you won. You can apply and find out your status only at dvlottery.state.gov. And finally, the State Department will never ask you to pay a fee in advance for the Diversity Visa Lottery. Applying for the lottery is free. So if you suspect a scam, please report your experience to the Federal Trade Commission. Call 1-877-382-4357 to file your complaint. That number is 1-877-382-4357. We'd like to hear from you.